We have all seen the WhatsApp ad a dozen times, right? Most of us get the general idea. Messages are secured, encrypted with the key before they leave your phone, and decrypted when they reach the receiver. Sounds simple, right? But as I kept thinking about it, a lot of questions came up. Do I use the same key for every message I send? And what about group chats? How is encryption handled when there are multiple people involved? Do my friend and I share the same key, or are they separate ones for each of us to encrypt and decrypt? And lastly, when I back up my chats, are my messages still encrypted? Let's walk through what actually happens from the moment you install the app to the point you're actually sending messages. It all begins the moment you install the app. Behind the scenes, WhatsApp generates something called a long-term key pair. Think of this key pair as your digital identity. It's how WhatsApp recognizes you and verifies that you are in fact you. Let me elaborate a bit more on the long-term key pair. Imagine you are Alice and you just installed WhatsApp. Your device creates two keys: a private key which stays securely on your phone and is never shared, and a public key which is sent to WhatsApp servers so it can be shared with others who need to identify or recognize you. These two keys play a crucial role not just at the start but throughout your time using the app. As I mentioned before, it's crucial for identification, verification, and even restoring your WhatsApp account if you switch devices. Remember this long-term key pair? I will be referring to this again and again. Now, suppose you start a new chat with your friend Bob. Before any actual messaging begins, both devices need to get to know each other securely, right? So here's what happens. Your device sends your public identity key to Bob via WhatsApp servers. At the same time, Bob's device sends his public identity key to you. Now, since these are public keys, there is no risk in sharing them. The public key's sole purpose is to help devices create a secure channel to talk through. Once each device receives the other person's public key, something cool happens. Both devices do a bit of math. Specifically, they use their own private key, which is never shared, and the other person's public key to calculate a value. Magically, both of you end up with the same secret value, and this value is called the session key, which will set up a secure channel for communication. You might be wondering, how can two people arrive at the same value just by exchanging public keys? I don't want to get into the details, but this clever trick that allows two parties to establish the same value or key is called the Diffie-Hellman key exchange. If you're curious and if you want to know more, feel free to research about it. Here are few things to note though. If you're chatting with 20 different people, you're not using just one session key. You actually have 20 distinct session keys, one for each individual conversation. Because each friend of yours has a different public key. This ensures that each chat remains securely isolated from the others. Another thing to remember is the session keys are long-lived and they persist as long as you are actively communicating in that chat, potentially across multiple messages. After a particular time, they do change though. Initially, when I started researching about all this, I assumed that it was fairly straightforward. This session key, which was generated both sides, which ends up being the same, I thought this is the one which encrypts and decrypts every message in a conversation. But turns out it's a bit more sophisticated. WhatsApp doesn't encrypt every single message with the session key, it seems. Session key just sets up a secure channel for communication. Apparently, WhatsApp uses something called message keys. These are temporary keys that are generated from session keys using a special method known as the key derivation function, if I'm not wrong. Again, we are not getting into the details because it will make the video long and technical. Think of it this way. The session key is like a seed and the message keys are the individual fruits that grow from it, one for each message. I know it's very bad analogy, but for now we'll take it. Okay, I think there are a lot of keys, lot of jargons. Let's walk through a simple example to understand everything we have learned till now. Okay, imagine you start a chat with your friend. Right when the conversation begins, both your phones perform the Diffie-Hellman key exchange, resulting in a shared session key. I hope you remember, okay? Let's call the session key SK1. Now, when you send your first message, your device uses SK1 to derive a unique message key, MK1. This MK1 is what actually encrypts that message. On your friend's side, their phone also uses SK1 to independently generate the same MK1 and decrypt the message. No key was sent over the internet, just the encrypted message. Now, when you send your second message, your phone doesn't reuse MK1. Instead, it uses SK1 to generate a fresh new key, MK2, and encrypts the second message with that. Your friend's phone uses the same logic, derives MK2 from SK1 and decrypts it. This cycle continues for every message with new message keys like MK3, MK4 being generated every time. And here is what's so cool. None of these keys, neither the session keys nor the message keys, are ever transmitted over the internet. I don't know why I'm repeating this so many times, but I found it really fascinating when I first read it, okay. They are being generated independently and locally on each device, yet they always match. I think this is the beauty of modern encryption. The math behind it ensures perfect coordination between devices without exposing anything private. While I was trying to understand WhatsApp encryption and key concepts, few questions came up. Let me know if you had the same. Okay. Number one, the first question that I had was, why are session keys needed? Why can't we just have message keys? Right? At first glance, I actually thought, oh, I had a very good question. But here's the thing. Once a session key is set up between two people, creating message keys from it became very fast and easy, right? For example, if I'm chatting with a friend for 15 minutes, let's say, my phone doesn't create a new session key for every message. Instead, it uses that one session key to create new message keys for each message I send during the conversation. This makes everything faster and smoother. If there were no session key, your phone would have to do the heavy math, a full key exchange every time you send a message. That would slow things down, use more battery, and make the app feel laggy. So, in short, you have one session key, one secure handshake, and that can help in sending many fast and secure messages. Another question I had was, what happens if I send a message to my friend and they open it only a week later? How does the key system still work in that case? My confusion was around the idea of time. Since it has been a whole week, I assume the session key might have been expired or being discarded, right? If that is the case, then how would my friend's phone know what key to use to decrypt the message? Here's what I learned. When the message is sent, it doesn't just disappear into the void. WhatsApp servers store the encrypted message that we know of, along with some metadata that indirectly tells the receiver which session key and which message key to use, it seems. So when your friend finally opens WhatsApp after a week, their phone receives both the encrypted message and the metadata from the server, which will help or which will give them enough context to decrypt the message. So to summarize, even if your friend checks their message days or weeks later, they'll still be able to decrypt it because WhatsApp keeps just enough information to recreate the keys when needed. Nothing is lost and security still holds. The last question I had was, I think this is something that I mentioned in the intro. How do backups restore all my messages without WhatsApp being able to see them? It turns out WhatsApp has a pretty clever solution for this too. So let's see what exactly happens when you enable backup to Google Drive or iCloud. When you choose to backup your WhatsApp chats, your phone first creates a backup file, it seems. This file contains two main things, encrypted messages and metadata that we talked before. The encrypted messages are saved exactly as they were sent, each one logged with their own key like MK1, MK2, so on. These message keys were originally created from session keys during your conversation. Alongside the messages, WhatsApp also stores some metadata such as who you chatted with and when, so on and so forth. Once this backup file is ready, it's uploaded to the cloud account. If you have turned on the end-to-end encryption backups, the entire backup is also protected with the backup key that only you know. This means that even the cloud provider can't see what's inside. Now, imagine you get a new phone and want to restore your chats. WhatsApp downloads their encrypted backup file from the cloud. Then, using the backup key you provided, your phone unlocks the file. It also restores the session keys and the necessary information to recreate the message keys. With that, your phone begins decrypting every message and displaying your chats as they were on your old phone. So, yeah, these were some of the questions that came to my mind while I was researching. I told this so many times. Anyways, if you had any other questions while watching this explanation, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. This WhatsApp topic started as a simple curiosity, okay? I actually use JioSaavn a lot, and the app plays this ad so many times, and that is when I became curious, and that turned into a video right now. And I'm glad it turned or happened that way. Anyways, that is it for this video, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.